Now morning from her orient chamber came, and her first footsteps touched a verdant hill, crowning its lawny crest with amber flame, silvering the untainted gushes of its rill, which pure from mossy beds did down distil, after parting beds of many flowers, by many streams a little lake did fill, and round its marge reflected woven bowers, in its middle space a sky that never lowers. There the kingfisher saw his plumage bright, vying with fish of brilliant dyes below, whose silken fins and golden scales light cast upward through the waves a ruby glow. There saw the swan his neck of arched snow, and he moved himself along with majesty, sparkled his jetty eyes, and his feet did show, beneath the waves like Afric's ebony, and on his back a fay reclined voluptuously. And this is how Merlin greeted his morning, with the delight of nature. He had a sense of his place and where he was in the natural world. So when he arrived at the Battle of Ardereth, the contrast was terrifying. War was not a good thing, and he really saw it for what it was. He went down to the floor. He started to rip his clothes. He put soil upon his face. And he screamed and he shouted, and people tried to calm him, but he just simply proclaimed, "O peace, and dost thou with thy presence bless the dwellings of this war-surrounded isle, soothing with placid brow our late distress, making the triple kingdom smile. Joyfully I hail thee, and I hail the sweet companions that await on thee. Complete my joy, let not my first wish fail. Let the sweet mountain nymph, thy favourite be, with England's peace proclaim a Europa's liberty." People tried to reassure him, but he went stock still and dead silent. He knew what he needed to do. "O solitude, if I must with thee dwell, let it not be amongst the jumbled heap of murky buildings. Climb with me the steep, nature's observatory, whence the dell its flowery slopes, its river's crystal swell, may seem a span. Let me thy vigils keep, 'mongst boughs pavilioned, where the deer's swift leap startles the wild bee from the foxglove bell." And so Merlin went deep into the countryside. Now remember, this can be a metaphor, as it often is in mythology. So even if you can't get out at the moment, join us. Join us as we travel deep into the countryside, deep into your inner landscape. Really be there. What does it smell like? How does it feel under your feet? What sights can you see? Just really be in an old ancient woodland. For Merlin has just gone over the Welsh borders into the Scottish Caledonian forest. And now memories are coming back to him. They're flooding into him of a time when people lived in harmony. And this was a time that existed where people lived in egalitarian societies. They built things from wood and plant fibres and deer sinew, and they had very little impact on the countryside around them. And there were guardians of the land that were here and now and alive. And he remembered one such guardian, Gog Magog. And he also remembered his last meeting with him, which wasn't such a pleasant affair. For he had had a vision, Merlin that is, a vision of a new race of people that would come to these shores, that would bring with them iron axes and steel ploughs. They would be a different type of person, and he knew that Gog Magog would struggle to embrace them. And so into the forest he went. He walked for quite some time, and there he was greeted by the great tall giant. "You know I won't accept these people. I've seen what you've seen, Merlin. They will plough up the soils of my woodlands. They will cut down the trees. I cannot accept them." Merlin gently replied, "But the land has accepted them. The Mother Earth herself has accepted them, and so must we." "I cannot," he said. Merlin realised it was pointless. It's futile to argue, and so he did what everyone must do when there's an argument. He decided he would find a common thread, a common purpose, and so he said to the giant, he said, tell me, Gog, why do you love the trees so much?" Gog couldn't help but smile. It started to appear upon his face, until finally a broad grin dominated his entire countenance. "Well," he said, "you know why, Merlin." "Go on, indulge me," Merlin replied. "Well, you know, I love the limes, the graceful limes of the south. I love the gentle hazel and elm in the west, the indomitable oaks of Northumbria, the majestic pines of Caledonia, and of course, the tenacious birch of the Highlands. I love all the trees, every single one of them." Alder, ash, aspen, black poplar, bird, wild cherry, and beech. Common and sessile oak, box, crab apple, silver, downy birch, and maple. Small, large-leaved lime, midland and common thorn, whitebeam, wild service, and rowan. Pine, strawberry tree, holly, hornbeam, hazel, juniper, elm. Crack, white, bay goat willow, Plymouth, wild pear, and yew. I love all these trees. Their uses I will now tell you. Now, of course, Merlin knew all the uses of the trees, but the giant did insist. So I will insist in telling you those uses that Gog reminded Merlin of. I hope you'll join in with me. Trees for food, trees for books, trees for shelter, trees for warmth, trees for drink, trees for medicine, trees for rope, and trees for oxygen. Trees for food, trees for books, trees for shelter, trees for warmth, trees for drink, trees for medicine, trees for rope, and trees for oxygen. "Oh, Merlin," Gog continued, "tell us of the poet's trees, the Oghams." "Oh, okay then. You mean of Bear, Louis, Farron, Salu, Neon, Hua, Dur, Chinu, Cole, Quad, Moon, Goat, Natal, Strath, Ruish, Alm, Yoon, Or, Ayu, and Eeyore." I do. Cast the woods, Merlin, please." So Merlin took out an Ogham from his leather pouch, and he looked at what tree he had picked, and he uttered the words of that particular tree. "A withered trunk, fair-haired the birch, faded trunk and fair hair, browed beauty, worthy of pursuit, most silver of skin." And they looked towards the birch grove, and near the birch grove was a wet area, and suddenly a plant appeared, and they found themselves conversing with it. "Queen of the meadow, where small streams are flowing, what is your kingdom, and whom do you rule?" The plant replied, "Mine are the places where wet grass is growing. Mine are the people of marshland and pool. Kingfisher courtiers quick flashing, Beautiful dragonflies, minnows are mine, one and all. Little frog servants who wait on me dutifully, hop on my errands and come when I call. Gentle Queen Meadowsweet, Sir Watch Loyalty, where is your crown then? No jewels to wear. Nothing I need for a sign for my royalty. Nothing I need but my own fluffy hair. Ho, 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 the giant did laugh. Do pick one more, Merlin, please. And so he reached into his leather pouch and he uttered the words of the next tree that he picked. Higher than bushes is an oak, highest of bushes and a third. Kneeling work, bright and shining work, craft work. And what appeared by the giant oak tree beside them was a plantain. And this plant did not converse with them, for it already was talking to the snail that was nibbling on its leaves. Hey ho, Snailio, what's the world with you? Put your little horns out, tell me how you do. There's rain and dust and sunshine where carts go creeping by. You like it wet, Snaily, I like it dry. Hey ho, Snailio, I'll whistle you a tune. I'm merry in September as ere I am in June. By any stony roadside, wherever you may roam. All the summer through, Snaily, plantains at home. Ho, 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 the giant laughed again. But then he stopped and he said to Merlin, You know I can't accept these people. I love my plants, the animals, the insects, the birds, the bees. So extravagant is nature with her beautiful outpouring of awe she gives us. I cannot watch this be destroyed. Never. And the giant walked away. Merlin came back to the present moment. He had just left the Battle of Ardereth and was remembering the time of when peaceful people existed and of Gog Magog and their last meeting. Then a wolf appeared by his side. It had grey fur. It was an aged wolf that knew all the secret pathways of the wood. He followed the wolf through many different paths till finally the woodland just stopped. It opened up. And there he saw a mountain. They went to the foot of the mountain where grass was green and there was a spring. He cupped his hand and he drank from that spring, whilst the wolf also did so. And then suddenly he felt so refreshed by nature. Wherever you are right now, feel that refreshment, feel that connection with nature. For you are part of nature and it is within you. Just feel that connection. And as he started to feel that connection, he started to hear the sound of the most exquisite, beautiful harp music. And you know, he remembered a time when a great bard was born. And how many bards gild the lapses of time? A few of them have ever been the food of my delighted fancy. I could brood over their beauties, earthy or sublime. And often when I sit down to rhyme, these will in throngs my mind intrude. But no confusion, no disturbance rude, do they occasion. 'Tis a pleasing chime. So the unnumbered sounds of the evening store, the songs of birds, the whispering of the leaves, the great bell that heaves, and 1,000 others more, that distance recognizance bereaves, makes pleasing music, not wild uproar. In thy western halls of gold, when thou sittest in thy state, bards that erst sublimely told heroic deeds and sang of fate, with fervour seize the adamantine lyres, whose chords are solid rays and twinkle radiant fires. Then o'er the strings his fingers gently move. But when thou joinest with the 9, and all the powers of song combine, we listen here on earth. The dying tones that fill the air and charm the ear of evening fair. From thee, great gods of bards, receive their heavenly birth.